Hello and welcome to 99 Yards, American football for UK fans. My name is Liz Fox and I am joined once again by Gareth Duxbury and Kadeem Simmons. How is everyone?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. A bit tired, but it's like Wednesday up late, so yeah.
Gotta
What do you expect?
So in this episode, we'll be discussing the London games so far, the future of the NFL in the UK, along with some rumours that were overheard which perhaps shouldn't have been, why it bugs us as fans when the media keep saying London-born or British-born, we're referring to our homegrown players, the epic fail that is Gamepath, and as we always do, a quick look at the games for next week. But before we go into that, at the weekend, I hosted my first London-based NFL UK Fan Meetup. To be honest, I was really nervous about how it would go, whether would people turn up, and more so, if they would have a good time. The event sold out a month before, and over 50 people turned up on the night. Now, based on the comments that I received at the time, and afterwards on social media, everyone seemed to enjoy it, so that's good. And I'm already looking at ideas for the event I'll do next season during the London Games, so watch this space. It also happened to coincide with the third Twitterversary of the NFL Girl UK account, and also was the first time I got to meet, these guys, so Kay and Gaz. How did you guys find the event?
I turned up, I think, about an hour late, but no, I really enjoyed it. It was good to kind of meet the readers, I guess, and not just that, to meet other NFL UK fans, because even though you kind of see them at games and stuff, you don't really chat to them. So no, it was just good to hang out and enjoy and talk football with people who actually know what's going on, as opposed to people asking why do you watch that and why there's so many breaks and stuff. So no, it was a really good night.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good crowd, and everyone seemed relaxed and at ease and having fun, which was nice. It was a good vibe. Highlight was my cameo at beer pong. The one shot, yeah. Although our fellow writer Shona was less happy with my performance afterwards, but in our game. But no, it was great. It was really good. And I think from what we've seen, Liz, there's definitely appetite for more people and a bigger space next year. So that's really cool. It's really encouraging.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love planning events and that kind of thing anyway. So yeah. Anyway, let's go. Sorry, go on.
Quite fun, so I'll say fun. When you guys left, me and Shona stayed till they closed, which was about 3 o'clock. And
God.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know either. But to be fair, I was on those Jaguar bombs, like 3 for £10. Yeah, that's all me. And we got chatting to these Miami fans who were down for the Dolphins game. And it was just a really cool night. There were loads of Saints fans around. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it was so weird to be talking NFL with, these Miami fans. I loved it. I was so tired the next morning, and I'm pretty sure when I got to Wembley, I was still drunk from last night, but what an amazing night.
God, I was not okay on Sunday morning.
Well, again, I don't get hangovers, so I was totally fine. I was like a bit drunk and tired, but no, it was amazing.
Just straight back on it, were you? Right, let's get started with the show then. So both Wembley games have now been and gone. We saw Jacksonville smash the Ravens, or shall we call them Saxonville, 44-7. For me, that was a complete shock. It's not the result I would have expected, and even this week, we saw the Saints complete shot the Dolphins as well. And again, that was a game that I thought would be a little bit more exciting on the scoreboard. Let's start with the Jaguars game. I was obviously in Mexico, so I didn't actually see it, and I completely missed it. But Kadeem, I know that you've got a season ticket. What were your thoughts on the game?
I enjoyed the game. Everyone said, it was an absolute blowout. It was a bad advert for football, but I really enjoyed it. I think, again, when you don't see football live week in, week out, when you do get it, I try and appreciate it for what it actually is. As long as it didn't finish 0-0, I was always going to be happy. There is an argument that you're getting these either one-sided games, which we'll obviously talk about with the Dolphins and Saints, or you get these absolute blowouts. But I think some people are just being really, I wouldn't say critical, because obviously the products we see on Sky or on Game Pass is completely different to what we see in London, and you can tell that by the people who, who do say they're bad games. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's always good to watch NFL live when you can, and obviously we only get it 4 times a year, so I just appreciate it for what it was, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kay. Like, especially around the blowout, or it's too one-sided. You want to see a competitive game, but Jacksonville have been so bad for so long, and they're technically the home team. You want to see the home team do well, and it's a great young D. They've got the potential to be a lot of fun, and Baltimore looked a bit disinterested in the game, to be honest. They were anemic on offense. The D couldn't get anything going. I mean, Blake Bortles lit them up, which was a complete turnaround for how Ravens looked through the first 2 weeks. I thought it was an interesting Week 3 showdown in sort of flipping the script a little bit on the two teams. Anytime you get to see Jalen Ramsey in the flesh, which I didn't do, like you say, Kay, you got to appreciate the spectacle that's there, and a convincing win for a club, for a team on the rise, is encouraging. I was really impressed with the Jags because they haven't been the greatest. They've not lived up to expectations, but they were firing on pretty much all cylinders against what was that week a pretty mediocre Ravens team. Yeah,
and I think if you do have a season ticket, or if you do go to watch a live game in another sport, no one, if it's one-sided, no one turns around and goes, that was really a really bad game because it was one-sided. You normally go, oh my days, that was a really one-sided game, especially when the quote-unquote home team wins. So what I don't get is people saying it was a bad game because it was a blowout. Surely it's why are you complaining for? You saw the Jags put up 44 points. You saw a Jalen Ramsey interception. You saw this defense finally, I say finally show they've been good, for the past season or so. But you saw them absolutely dominate another team. Yeah, I don't really see the problem in that. Yeah. Like I said, go on. Sorry. No, I'm gonna say I loved it. Again, it's that spectacle. You can't complain about something which comes over 4 times a year, because if they turn around and say, well, okay, well, we'll keep it in the States, we'll move it to Mexico, everyone will be like, well, hold on, what about us fans? So and also and the point is as well, if say Jacksonville are the franchise, which we'll talk about in a bit, become the UK team, you're only going to get 8 games, and you're going to get blowouts, and you're going to get blown out. Because it's almost like people want the cake and eat it. They want to support their own team and see a spectacle exhibition game, but at the same time, they want a home team based here, which doesn't seem to add up. No, not at all. I think if you want a spectacle, either 2 things: 1, play Madden, or 2, go and watch a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think you're completely right in what you say. And then of course this weekend, that's just gone, was Dolphins Saints. No,
it wasn't.
No.
No, wait. I've blanked that game from my memory. Let's just. Oh.
It was a shame because it was such a hyped up game, and in the end it didn't kind of live up to that, did it? I mean, I don't know. You're obviously a fan. It's your team. What did you think of the game?
I think it started off so well. That opening drive from the Dolphins was like, oh my days, this is it. It's quite funny. Before the game started, there was 2 Saints fans, a couple sitting in front of me, and I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to spend the next few hours just screaming my lungs off. And they said, that's fine, because we're going to do the same. They were silent throughout the whole thing, apart from when they scored. I was screaming all game, and there's quite a few Dolphins fans around me, and they were just silent. And again, some are from the States, others are from here. I kind of feel, if you are from over here, this might be your only chance to see the Dolphins. Yeah. Why aren't you making noise? Okay, after that first drive and that really bad interception from Cutler, it went completely downhill. But even so, just chant, scream something.
Yeah.
I don't know. In terms of the game, it's a weird one because the Dolphins held the Saints to 20 points, which on any other day would actually be quite good given how bad the Saints defense is. The problem was they came up against a Dolphins offense that just couldn't do anything, and they kind of established a run in that first drive and then completely shied away from it. They barely tested Stills deep. they barely tested. Or they tested Parker a few times, but nothing like just lob it up and see what you can do. And a lot of Dolphins fans, especially on game day, Dolphins Twitter is basically stop running screens, stop running screens, stop running screens. Adam Gase loves running screens, which makes no sense because Parker and Stills can't block that well. And our best blocker is Landry, who's the best on screens. The Dolphins defense, while only giving up 20 points, killed themselves with penalties. It was a very scrappy game, which the Saints deserved to win. As a Dolphins fan, yeah, I'm going to forget that game very, very quickly.
Yeah, as a neutral spectator watching on television, sorry, but that was the worst game of the season. It was sloppy, and that's the best way to put it. Like the fouls, the botched plays, just everything was so. And you're right, it started so well. That first Dolphins drive, you're like, hang on. The clicking, the Saints are terrible on D. This is going to be fantastic. And then Gase calls the fade at the goal line. It's like, why are you not giving it to British-born Jay Ajayi right there on the line? That's what he's there for. He's a bull of a bag. That's what you need. And from there, you just thought, oh, this is Jay Cutler. And then, I mean, when they did the Wildcat and Jay Cutler stood out by the sideline with his arms looking like the sullen teenager he is, it was just not a good spectacle. Now, I know we've said about, spectacle, but I'm talking about watching on TV. If that was any game, if it was a normal 6 o'clock game, you'd turn it over to something else on Gamepath straight away. It was not great. And it was disappointing because looking pre-season at the 4 games, this seemed like one of the juiciest matchups. So that was a real shame, just from a fact that, it just wasn't a good, well-played technical game. It was quite soul-crushing in many ways.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone saw that game and was like, this is both defenses are quite bad. The Dolphins defense was awful last year. It's gotten better this year. But at the same time, everyone's like, well, Drew Brees is going to just slice and dice them. It's going to be a bloodbath from both sides. And the Dolphins just never got going. And it's quite interesting how Adam Gase had his press conference today, and he said that loss wasn't on Jay Cutler. He said that the receivers are better than they were last year. So everyone's looking at it going, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
You put up 6 points against a really, really, or a supposed bad Jets team. You put up nothing against the Saints. They just didn't get anything going. And like everyone said, the Saints' defense is abysmal. And yet they completely shut out the Dolphins. And the highlight of today for me was Kiko Alonso. I think anyone that knows, I'm like the biggest Kiko Alonso fan. Everyone, all Dolphins fans hate him. I love him. And just seeing him make tackles, I was like, this is my dream. So thank you very much for that.
Every time he came up on the screen, I was like, yay, Kiko!
That's what I was like, to be fair. So, yeah.
In fact, seeing as we're kind of on that whole topic, you mentioned earlier, Gaz, the whole London-born thing. I mean, I know it's not necessarily just Jay does it. It's kind of a lot of players as well. Yeah, it's great that we've got British-born talent, and we should be proud of that. I get that. But at the same time, it's banded around so much now that it's annoying a lot of fans. What exactly do you think it is that annoys us so much about it?
I mean, I think partly because a lot of fans that I've interacted with and a lot of people that follow American football in this country have done so, and it's been a labour of love. It's late nights, it's days off work, it's, if you're fortunate enough to go out to the States and see games, it's something that requires commitment, dedication. So, there's a bond with it that is really important to a lot of people. And this is just sort of like a marketization and a simplification of what you should feel about. Oh, it's now you have a tangible thing to feel about an individual, and so you should have a rooting or vested interest. And it just grates, I think, with a lot of people because, I don't need somebody to say, oh, I was born in the UK for me to be interested. And I think particularly at this time, without getting too deep into things, it's trying to play on a nationalism that I don't think a lot of football fans feel because they're interested in a sport that is primarily because it's so different culturally and it is rooted in America. What does it matter? It's not like the guy was playing, NFL Europe or developmental league, and all of a sudden he's on a squad. Jay Ajayi went to Boise State. He's out in Idaho. It's so strange to me that that's a way that the marketeers, particularly NFL UK, think that they can carve into new markets. I don't think many Premier League fans are going to be like, oh, that guy was in the UK for a few years at the start of his life. I'm now into NFL. It's part of this strange marketing ploy. The same with, trying to say, oh, look, Premier League football is like NFL too. They just change the team every year. Hello, Rio Ferdinand. And that's what gets me. I think a lot of people feel like it's being forced on them. It's great, if you are from London or part of London where Jay Ajayi is from, I could see why that'd be cool, especially if you try to get into the game. But for a lot of established fans, it's a little bit like, don't see the meaning of it, and it's a bit trying to force things down your throat, and the blunt force instrument in terms of that is NFL UK marketing.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything you just said. It is one of the most pointless things that no one cares about it. I get that to market it over here, you want to have your poster child, but the poster child can be Odell Beckham or Tom Brady or whoever you wants to be. Yes, it's an amazing coincidence that Jay Ajayi is from London, Britain, or however you want to spin him this week. But at the same time, when the Premier League are selling their rights in other countries, it's not like in Belgium they say, oh, look, it's Romelu Lukaku or Eden Hazard. When they go to, they don't do that. They just say, here's our best players. When the leaguers market themselves, they don't say, okay, we'll go to Wales with Gareth Bale. They say, we've got Messi and Ronaldo. These are the best players. Watch our product to see these people. And even as a Dolphins fan, you will never see me with a Jay Ajayi shirt because I don't see the point. Especially if I go out to the States with my Jay Ajayi shirt, it's like a massive neon sign saying, oh, clearly this guy's from London. And it's actually quite interesting. I was chatting to those Miami fans late Saturday night, and one of them is friends with a Dolphins player who I won't name because he said don't tell no one, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. He said that the Dolphins aren't going to re-sign Jay Ajayi. He said that they don't see the point. One, because they do think he's either going to give way, and two, with the way running backs are being churned through college, there's no point in paying Jay Ajayi. You can pick up someone in the third, fourth round, which is pretty much what they did with Ajayi. So it's going to be so interesting to see what NFL UK does if Jay Ajayi is cut from the Dolphins, and if no one picks him up in a massive contract, because that's their market completely gone. Yeah. And you can't sell free agent Jay Ajayi who's never going to be in London. So.
No. Well, who was it? Menelik Watson, wasn't it? The offensive tackle who was like, Menelik Watson's British, then he's not been too good.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
word on him anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. They'll just pick another player who's been born here, that lived here till they were 7 years old. Like, there's a couple of players that are out there, and there's players that just don't mention. But they don't mention the so-called star players at the time. So I kind of think if you're going to do it, fine, highlight it, talk about it, but don't overdo it. I think that's what the issue has been. They've just overdone it.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely.
Especially, like I said, just highlight the best players. And okay, Jay Ajayi has become one of the better players in the NFL, but surely, you want to highlight your Antonio Browns, your Jalen Ramsey, your Ryan Shaziers, your people like that. Those people are more well known, and you're more likely to bring in a whole new audience rather than market this one person. And I'm actually quite surprised that when Madden was released this year, NFL UK didn't release a Jay Ajayi special London edition.
Yeah.
Surely that's coming very, very soon. Same way FIFA has different front covers for other countries. We're like, to be fair, it's a missed trick from their part if they haven't put Jay Ajayi on the front of Madden, was it 18 or 19 next year? I've already lost count, so...
I think NFL UK marketing miss a lot of tricks though, so perhaps doesn't surprise me. Can I ask you one quick question, Kay? Would you wear a Jay Ajayi Dolphin shirt if he was a middle linebacker?
Actually, yes, because the Dolphins need middle linebackers so badly, and I think my next jersey will be a Raekwon McMillan one, which I might have my birthday in a few weeks. So
nice.
And so moving on, but still around the same area. So the future of the NFL in the UK. It's been said that a franchise will come here eventually, probably in the next few years. And in one of the recent competitions that the NFL UK have promoted in their terms and conditions, it said that the winner could get a season ticket for up to 5 games for next year. So it looks like they're obviously trying to ramp things up and aim for more games over here, which obviously makes sense if that's the aim of the franchise. I mean, it does seem like the audience overall is a little bit torn in whether they want a franchise here or not. I mean, personally, I would love to see it, but realistically, I know that I couldn't afford to go to all 8 games. In fact, if all the games were played at 6 PM on a Sunday, it would mean I'd have to take a Monday off work, stay overnight, because I'd miss the last train back home north. So it could get unnecessarily expensive for those of us who don't live in London. Do you guys think a franchise would work?
I honestly don't know. It's a tough one. So the 2 Wembley games so far have been at 2:30 kickoffs. The next game is a 6 o'clock kickoff. And me and my friends are already going, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. Now, from where I live, Twickenham is quite far. Not super far, from Manchester to London, but it's far enough that's this is going to be a ball ache. You then add in the fact it's a 6 o'clock kickoff, finishes at around 9, and then you've got that massive queue to get back.
Exactly.
Probably won't get back till about 11 o'clock, which, to be fair, isn't a problem because you'll be up watching games, if you was at home and stuff. But if you ask people to do that, on a weekly or, fortnightly basis, like you said, people have to start missing work on Monday if it's a 6 o'clock kickoff, which, sometimes it will be. So then what do you do? Or, God forbid it's a 9 o'clock kickoff, then, people are missing trains left, right and centre. So the problem is that because it's a London franchise, where it's the only franchise in the country, you want to basically bring in people from around the country, because London isn't going to fill out Wembley Stadium full of NFL fans. They'll argue that they can, but we all know that's never going to happen. So I don't think it will work, but they're going to force it down our throats to make it work. That's what I think anyway.
I think it's careful what you wish for some of us fans in getting a franchise, because there are big implications that we obviously don't really think about. But, just as simple as getting paid. Players getting paid. How do they get paid? Where is the franchise registered? How do they pay tax? Where are they domiciled? There's talk of basing themselves on the East Coast and flying out every week. I think that's going to make it incredibly hard to get free agent players. It's going to make it, you're going to see instances of, top prospects in the draft saying, I'm not going to play for a London franchise, because it's hard enough in America. It's 5,000 miles wide and 3-hour time difference coast to coast. It's difficult enough with these schedules. You can't have West Coast teams coming out and then, the schedules, it becomes incredibly complex. I also think, what team's going to give up a franchise when I am sure there are American cities that would be able to give better pitches for why they should get a team. Surely St. Louis and San Diego are still in the queue to get a team again. Oakland will be looking in 3 years' time. And there are other growing US cities. And another point towards that is, would it be an expansion team? Is that the way to solve the ills? And in which case, then, do we have a case of people saying there aren't 32 good quarterbacks anyway? What are we going to do if there are 34 teams, 36 teams? I think it's a really tricky scenario. I can't see it happening, just simply because it changes the dynamic from, like you say, Liz, if you're up north, you come down, you can justify a weekend. It's an expense, but hey-ho, a lot of fun. You get to see 2 teams. A home team, it becomes around having a core support. And I don't see a groundswell for people having a home team here in London to justify a stadium the size of Wembley or the new White Hart Lane or indeed Twickenham or wherever they choose to do it. So I think you really get into that. And, final point, specialist facilities. This is an American sport played in an American context, in American culture. Would an American who has spent all their life playing college, dreaming of going to the NFL, want to be based in London, living that lifestyle as compared to being back home? So I think there's some of the human factors, the logistical factors, and the sort of structural factors that we don't really get to think about. I mean, as a romantic, it's a lovely idea, but it seems to dilute it a little bit. The idea of having a team based, it's American football. It's the National Football League. It just seems a little bit anathema when you think about having a team franchise permanently located overseas.
I think also, and this is from someone who lives in London or the UK, it rains a lot. It's obviously it rains in the States at the same, but at the same time it's, like you said, are you really going to want to leave Miami, places like that to come live in London and rain? So if they don't live in London and they do, live East Coast and stuff like that, then what's the point? You kind of want the team based here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're going to need for them to be training here to get used to it. That way you can have, free training sessions, or you can watch training sessions. If you have a London franchise which is based in the States and flies over, that's completely pointless. You might as well give us the international series.
Yeah, there's no community, is there? And then one of the things I was speaking to a guy called Stuart about on Saturday night at the event, now he kind of overheard a conversation that maybe he shouldn't have, and the conversation was that the Raiders would they would basically come to London for their home games if their current stadium lease ended and the new Vegas stadium wasn't ready. Now, I've no idea how true this is or, whatever, but if that is true, then I think that's pretty exciting if they came here for their 8 home games. I mean, especially if Beast Mode was going to be around. I think that'd be amazing. Again, don't know how true it is, but do you think that could happen?
I think a team like the Raiders here for 8 games, abstractly, is a great idea. And it's, as a fan of the NFL, I'd probably get myself along to a couple of games to see the Raiders, no matter how good they are. I mean, because it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of fans feel the same way. I can't see a West Coast team that's sort of moving cities coming over to London. Again, just thinking boringly about logistics, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers coming over, as well as the Raiders having to go out, quite far west. I know KC and Colorado aren't that far west, but it's still, it would be a nightmare. I also think that the option for them to take an extra year in Oakland is probably the most sensible thing. Now, that depends on how acrimonious the split gets as the move to Las Vegas gets nearer. But I really honestly can't see it happening. Again, in some ways it'd be fun. I think for Oakland fans it'd be terrible. For the Oakland team it'd probably be terrible. So I just can't see it happening. I think that they'd probably end up, say, sharing with perhaps the Niners or down in LA for a year if they didn't stay in Oakland before they came to London.
Yeah, I think while it would be an amazing idea, the way they've messed around Raiders fans to do that, I think Raiders fans would just go, I'm done, I quit. It's one thing moving, across states to then move to another country and say, okay, wait for us to get back. I can't see it working. For NFL UK, that's like the best case scenario because fans aren't sold on the Jags. But if you can get the Raiders over here, one of the most iconic NFL teams, especially the way you see people who don't even like football wearing wearing Raiders hats, Raiders jackets because of that, the iconic logo. If you didn't get them over, you could sell so much Raiders gear over here. Yeah. They'll be like rolling in pounds. So from that point of view, it will be amazing. From a logistic point of view, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, and especially a Raiders team that are knocking on the door of the playoffs, you could imagine them having an awful, awful season, getting a really early pick, people losing their jobs, and that'd be a worst case scenario for the team. So while it'll be amazing, I can't see it happening personally.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy with one game. Just to see Beast Mode and that's me, I'm done, I'm happy.
Of course.
Of course.
So let's turn to the dreaded topic of Game Pass. Users are kicking off, and rightly so, at the fact that 5-star reviews have started appearing on how great the product is. And upon researching more into who those people are, it turns out that they work for the app company. So BBC's Mark Simpson, he's been inundated with tweets about this, and he started to investigate the issues publicly. He's asked the NFL UK if they've got anything to say about the allegation of fake reviews, whether they accept that the issues have gone past teething issues, and let's face it, we're 5 weeks into the season now, these issues should have been ironed out in week 1, and finally, whether the users will be entitled to a refund. Now, yesterday he mentioned that he was yet to receive a response from NFL UK, but had new information from fans and that we should all stay tuned. To start with, before this, I felt bad for NFL UK. I kind of felt, well, they've paid this company to do this, and it's kind of their problem. But the issues should have been nipped in the bud ages ago, and now they've been made worse with these fake reviews, which is a pretty disgusting approach. In my eyes, it's completely fraudulent. It's like someone buying fake follows on Twitter to make them look better than they are. I just don't get it. Anyway, rant over, because I appreciate I went on a little bit. What are your thoughts?
I don't think you went on. I mean, I'm with you. Like, it's fraud. It's gross negligence, and NFL UK are as culpable as this company, because I don't know what procurement they used, but they clearly haven't basically done a cost-benefit analysis. They haven't done a thorough assessment of the technology capabilities of this company. They've clearly, when you look at the websites of like Delata or whoever, and the other one that's behind it, it's just jargon, and it's, we use analytics to tell what the fans want. What does that mean? It's meaningless. I've spent, time looking at this and thinking about it, and it seems to me that there has basically been a deal done without the thought about what the outputs are going to be, the outcomes are going to be. It's a pitch that's been made that's rolled somebody's socks up and down about how jazzy this company is going to make Gamepath, without thinking about how you actually deliver the product that for years has been the lifeline for dedicated NFL fans to not just watch the game, but learn about the game, to be able to break down film, to watch condensed, to see the entire league rather than the 2 games that we get on Sky, and the primetime games. It's taken fans' trust without even consulting them, and it said, we're NFL UK, we don't care. And to be honest, I've always thought NFL UK was a bit of a shanty town operation, clearly not as professional as the monolithic entity in the US. It seems like a bit of a, pound shop international expansion office that is run by people that don't really have an appreciation for the game. And, maybe they have professionalized recently. They've got swanky new offices. And as Jono said, a tap that has, boiling water coming out of the wall. Fantastic. But the Game Pass thing it's destroyed credibility among not new fans, and maybe that's why they don't care, because it's only going after the fans that have been interested in this game for a long time, that they know they're not going to lose, because these people, like me, like everyone on this pod and writing for the blog, that has dedicated years to their interest and passion for this game, and we want to see it grow and we want to see it expand. But it seems that NFL UK don't care about how it grows. They just care about abstract concepts of growth. British Brawn, Jay Ajayi, Harry Kane kicking a field goal, a bells and whistles app that does nothing that the fans want it to do. And like you say, Liz, teething troubles, fine. I mean, it was bad enough they took the app away, for months, rather than just keeping us on the current app and then rolling out a new app that had everything ready. But then for weeks to go by, I must have tweeted them about 10, 15 times on Sunday. I started watching Houston, Tennessee, interrupted video, pausing, crashing, just happens all the time, kicking me out after a few. And I have really, really, really good internet. I am not in a rural, patchy area. And yet there's no interaction. There's no engagement. So you end up just sending arsey tweets to them, which, is not fair to the poor intern that's manning the Twitter feed, which is why I think they've just stopped responding to people generally. Yeah. But it shows the bluntness as well when they keep tweeting things about, oh, John Madden, A Football Life, everyone should want to get into this. Why are you continuing to promote a product when you know the users are completely dissatisfied? It's that sort of tone-deaf approach that, for me, really symbolises NFL UK's attitude towards fans, and symbolises the way they've approached NFL Game Pass, and it symbolises the way these 2 companies that have created this holding corporation to sell this product have disdain for us, and it's really, really upsetting. And anyway, my rant over because I've gone on a bit.
I feel like I'm the only one who's not going to rant because I haven't bought it yet, and I said on a previous podcast I'm not buying this until it's 100% fixed. It's quite funny. I said to Gareth on Saturday night, I might go to the Bat and Ball in Stratford. I think it's called the Bat and Ball. Table tennis place, because they said they can start showing NFL games. So we was quite tired. We thought, you know what, we'll pop in and see what it's like. We left after a little while because they were showing the game on Gamepath. It kept on cutting out. And we're like, this is completely pointless. What is the point? Yeah. So on Sunday evening, my Twitter feed is basically UK NFL fans tweeting what's on Game Pass, when you're going to fix it. And the fact that they're still charging people for this is, to me, the biggest crime, because they're selling a product which doesn't work. They either need to completely shut it down, refund people, or, and it sounds so stupid, but fix it. And it's, look, I'm going to take back what I just said. They haven't fixed it, refunds. They need to start giving out refunds. And the fact that people are still being charged different amounts, I would love to see if anyone signed up after like week 1 or something, because anyone that has, no offense, that's your fault, because everyone's saying it's a really, really bad product. The fact that they're getting employees to leave 5-star ratings, it's like, hello, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's some kind of investigation into this, because if that was anyone else or any other company, people would ask for them to be shut down or, some kind of fines or something like that. So This is an absolute joke, and I genuinely feel sorry for people who have spent upwards of £100 on something that is not working. I think next season, that's really weird, sorry. Next season, I say a minimum a month's free for everyone. Even if you didn't sign up last year, a month's free. Because even if it's working, people still have to go through this season, and that's not fair. So they need to start giving out some free trials, a month, 2 months free, and try and win people back on side, because people will basically say, do you know what, why spend £100 on Game Pass when I can just illegally stream games?
Yeah.
And people would have every right to do that. Obviously it's illegal, but at least they get to watch the game rather than what they got now.
Well, that's it. At least it'll work.
Yeah. And I think with an illegal stream, even when it does cut out, you don't get angry because it's illegal and it's quite dodgy. This is something you've paid for. This is basically like paying for Sky, sitting down to watch a movie and it's cutting out every 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you'd be like, well, hold on. I pay for the service, give my money back. NFL UK are lucky that there's another Game Pass. At least with Sky, you can switch to Virgin, or if your phone isn't working on EEs, you can switch to Vodafone or Tesco or something else. NFL UK fans have nothing. No. I don't know why they changed it in the first place, but they should have kept it for this season, but in the background had this new one, and given that to a few people to see if it works, because I can't swear on the pod, but 4-letter words will be coming out of my mouth over and over again.
But as well, though, what concerns me is the amount of people that would have signed up this weekend. I mean, all over Regent Street and then outside itself, they had the massive Game Pass stand with offers. I mean, I don't know what the price would have been, but offers that if you joined today, it would be cheaper. Now,
see, that's a joke.
Yeah, but the worst thing is when Barrett and I asked, the guy about it, and he was like trying to sell it to us, we were like, well, have the issues been fixed? And he's like, there's been no issues. And I was like, I know you're a salesperson, and clearly I don't actually think you work for Game Pass or for the NFL or for anyone. I think you're just there to sell that day. But I just think, don't say that to fans. I mean, I'm lucky because I've seen this all over Twitter, but someone who's naive and hasn't seen that on Twitter thinks, oh god, this product is great, I'm going to sign up now, here's my 140 quid, gets home, doesn't work. I just don't think that's right.
They need to stop selling it. They actually do, because this is a faulty product. You will never ever go into a shop and buy a new phone, TV, if it's not working, because you can't do that. Yeah. So, okay, they'll lose money, but shut it down. Say, we are accepting no new clients until we've got it fixed. Yes, you're going to lose money, but, when they start giving out refunds for this really crap service, you're losing money anyway, so...
Yeah. It's reputation, isn't it? The reputation is damaged now.
Which is why the companies that are doing this aren't putting their names on it. It's why it takes a bit of diving to get to the names of, as I say, the companies that actually have come together to create a third company that then pushes what is now called NFL Game Pass Europe. it's a sign of people that don't want to put their name on work. And if you don't want to put your name on work you're doing, there's a clear sign that it's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was weird, to be honest. I mean, even the day that the product so-called launched, they still didn't have the Twitter account set up.
Yeah,
they literally made it that day, and you kind of think, if you guys just fumbled this, did you just think, do you know what, let's make it live today, even though it's supposed to go up next year or something? I don't get it. It's really weird.
No, I agree.
To think, like, surely before they put it live, they should have run tests. Are you telling me that when they ran all these tests, it was working completely fine, and that when other people got to buy it, it wasn't working? I would love to see the test files or something, because there is no way that this should have passed inspection. There is no way that this should have gone live. And if it was working and when it went live, it completely messed up, then you say, do you know what? We're taking it back down again. Don't basically, anyone has paid, take your money back. Once it's ready, then you can have it, because this is an absolute joke, and I'm not giving them anything until it's fixed. And even when it is fixed, I'm waiting till I see people I know saying, yep, it's working completely fine, and then I might get it.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And then going on to slightly more positive and exciting topic for the games the week ahead. Now, the lineup on Sky Sports, the games look pretty exciting. You got Cowboys, Packers, you got Lions, and who are they playing?
Panthers.
Panthers, yeah, okay, so that'll be a good one. And then at the moment, you still got Chiefs, who are undefeated at 4-0. So, again, will they make it through? Who knows? I mean, have you got any games that you're particularly looking forward to, and why?
Probably the Chiefs, to see if they can stay undefeated. I think when you're the last undefeated team, you kind of want to see how far you can go with it. And this Chiefs team is actually quite fun to watch. So, I'll go with the Chiefs.
I mean, that's going to be a fun game, and because they're playing Houston, now I want to see how Deshaun does against that defense that's playing really well. And everyone go back and check the blog and look at my old pieces about Houston before the season, because I was saying Deshaun Watson should start. He's hella fun. He's a great QB, and he's going to be better than anything they've got there. And so I stand vindicated after one game of great evidence. But in terms of me, I think the Sky games are really good. But actually, I never said this before the start of the season, but I really am interested by Jaguars Steelers in the 6 o'clock slot. Jags 2-2, Steelers 3-1, but a bit unconvincing. I think that could be really intriguing. And then at the 9 o'clock one, Packers Cowboys is the marquee game, and that'll get great ratings. But Seattle LA, I mean, if the Rams go 4-1 and Seattle 2-3, and the Rams have had Seattle's number the last few years, and damn, I mean, that could be really fun. I'm really quite interested by that game. So I think I might, pray to pray to the gods of football that Gamepath will let me watch those games. But they're two to keep an eye on, I think.
Actually, and it sounds weird, I really want to see Browns Jets.
Yeah. Well, Jets can go 3-2, man. They could win the record.
That's why, and I think the Browns are 0-4 start off really, really badly. So it's like the team that wasn't meant to tank against the team that is actually tanking, and if the Browns lose this game in a convincing fashion, people are really saying Hugh Jackson might be, close to getting a sack. That isn't going to be pretty, especially against Josh McCown as well. The guy that failed in Browns. To be fair, everyone fails in Cleveland, but this just for bad football, this could be a shocking game.
Yeah, like watching a slow motion car crash. Yeah.
Well, that's a delightful comment.
Sorry.
No, I think there's a lot of good games that's going to, take place this week. I do think the Cowboys-Packers game is going to be the one to watch. I'm also kind of looking forward to the Bucs-Patriots game as well. I mean, part of me thinks it's going to be pretty much Patriots fest, but at the same time, I think Bucs might actually give them a really good challenge. So we shall.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Bucs in this one. I think they edge it, and I know we made the mistake last year. Patriots 2-2 after 4 weeks. What's happening? But I genuinely do think the Bucs are going to have a good game. So I'm with you on this one, Liz. I think. think it could be closer than people think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's all from me for this week's podcast. Kay, Gaz, thanks for joining me. Those listening, thanks for tuning in. We'd love if you could share any comments or feedback on Spreaker or iTunes. And of course, if there's something you'd like to discuss on a future show, send us a tweet at 99yards or email me, Liz, at nflgirluk.com. Thanks for listening.